Yeah, you're going to want to watch this with an empty stomach. The genre of body horror is usually a turn down for people, and with good reason. Often the disgusting imagery is used to shock the audience, and that's about it. That's why I genuinely appreciate filmmakers that can use violence in the medium to elicit reactions for anything more than just shock. With films such as Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor, or even as recent as this year's The Substance. And if you can stomach it, Julia Ducournau, the director of Raw and 2021's Titan, they are both examples of that. Raw is essentially a coming-of-age story. Justine, our protagonist and a lifelong vegetarian, is starting her first year at a veterinary school, where her older sister also attends. But as she gets situated at school, she discovers a part of herself like any good coming-of-age story.
J'arrive pas si tu me regardes.
Cannibalism. The eating of the flesh of an animal by another animal of the same kind. Our first impression of the campus gets introduced 6 minutes into the film. It's a chaotic scene with no information given to us, relying on our heuristics to fill in the gaps, and only further exaggerated by the handheld camera, uneven composition, and the incessant shouting and screaming throughout. And it does its job so effectively, it immediately highlights the power difference between the elders and the rookies, or the predators and the prey. You can almost see it in every part of the film. It's a ritual that's conducted consistently for years, and all throughout the campus. Rookies who refuse to obey to the demands of the elders gets punished through humiliating ways. They get ostracized by their peers and called traitors for refusing initiation. It's this hazing that serves as a catalyst for a discovery of cannibalism, as she's forced to eat raw meat. It's important to address that throughout this process, we create connections with Justine, as she creates her own with her roommate Adrian and her older sister Alexia, or Alex, who's an elder. It's no surprise that Justine starts to have unusual reactions, such as the rash and a sudden craving for meat. It's apparent she has cognitive dissonance, and she's unsure of herself. She's ashamed of it, and hides it from others. Adrian is an objective look into Justine's life, a perspective that's not affected by bias or by attachment. It's why he's introduced as a homosexual, and as such, is portrayed as a genuine and honest person. He doesn't romanticize Justine, and thereby making each action we see throughout the film purely out of his own goodwill. He's there for Justine from the start. He's the one who handed her the ski pole to defend herself with. He's the one who supported her and comforted her throughout the hazing. Alex, on the other hand, acts as a sort of guardian for Justine, and as we progress through the film, we learn she's more than that. Alex also has a yearning for flesh, and is foreshadowed from details such as Justine finding the same treatment for her rash found in her sister's medicine cabinet, or her brown-grey jacket that's been seen multiple times throughout the film. But unlike Justine, she's not afraid of it, nor is she ashamed of it, and consequently, Justine starts to become more like her sister.
Tu vois, c'est rien.
She starts to dress more freely, adopting a bold, confident look. She embraces her newfound hunger, hesitates less, shedding herself from the prior shame and embarrassment from her true self. You can see it clearly when you juxtapose the first party sequence to the last. Justine is clearly conflicted and lost, trying to find her sister in between crowded places. When contrasted with the final sequence, Justine is not only more confident, but seemingly driven by confrontation. She wanders around the party drunk, just like Alex did at the start of the film.
Putain, je suis trop déchirée.
It's why we feel so betrayed when Alex manipulates Justine by baiting a corpse in the morgue when she's outright blackout drunk. Despite them being sisters and Alex caring for her, it's only more shocking that she ends up being just another elder. That's why the fight between Justine and Alex feels justified, despite it being so wrong. Alex has led Justine astray to a path of animality, similar to herself. Unfortunately, Alex's influence has affected Justine to new, grotesque heights. Justine outright blames herself for it, believing it to be her own doing. But it's clever subversion. We learn that it is Alex who killed Adrian, but when given an opportunity, Justine fails at the chance to put down her own sister. Whether you consider this to be representative of Justine growing to be like her sister, or her finally moving off a path that isn't influenced by anyone besides her own, I can say that she doesn't act like her sister, an animal that lives through hedonism and her primal instincts. But she's also not particularly avoidant of it either, like her parents are, living off a vegetarian diet. From the start, Justine is different from the rest of the cohort. She finds herself lost in between conforming with the crowd or embracing herself. And by incorporating both, she ends up being like her sister. Only by accepting herself and what her sister truly is, does she find herself in the mess. The themes of ethics and animality is present throughout the film, and it never provides any conclusive answer to these dilemmas. Are we animals? And if so, at what point did we stop being animals and are instead humans?
Les cochons, c'est presque comme les hommes. Je sais pas si vous avez appris ça.
The film portrays cannibalism as an animalistic and inhumane action, but that's because it's skewed by Alex.
Non, mais t'as un problème de gestion de la colère.
Je suis pas en colère, c'est juste que t'es en train de-
Alex doesn't have empathy or any care for the well-being of others. She feeds her cravings by literally causing accidents and eating the victims of the crash. On the other hand, we get to see another perspective through Justine's discovery of cannibalism. She begins by entertaining a more sustainable and more empathetic method, resisting the temptations. At least until Alex's influence begins to seep its way in. The dog that Alex has around is synonymous with her in a way. He gets put down because an animal that has tasted human flesh isn't safe.
Bouffer de la chair humaine, c'est pas safe.
By crafting a parallel between the two, it's apparent that Alex's discovery has resulted in deaths before. It's why this shot carries a certain significance, having Alex and Justine held down like animals. But by the end, it's Justine's own perspective that creates the most impact. It's why when given the chance, she does not kill or put down Alex, despite the film having been building up to that. It's not a glorification of cannibalism, but it's the acknowledgement that this certainly exists in our nature and will continue to do so in the future. By refusing to address it, we're alienating a part of humanity that's very real. So only when Justine understands what she and her sister truly are, do we get the most human emotion. Whether you enjoy the film or not, it's up to us to confront these issues that Do Kano has presented. We shouldn't repress ourselves, but instead embrace it and adapt to it. Because otherwise, who's to say we're no different to each other than we are to animals?